Hello friends. Now in this video, let's look into some of the advanced challenges in HackerRank for Java, and let's now start solving these one by one. So let's look into the first one, which is Java variable arguments. So here you are given a class solution, and its main method is there in the editor. And let me open this up. So I will put it side by side. So this is for Java 7, and let's see what's the problem is. Your task is to create a class add and the required method so that code prints the sum of numbers passed to the function add. So we have to write a new class which will be called add. So class add, we remove this, should be comment, and then in this we have to create a new method which is add. So definitely it should be a public method add, and it should sum up all the arguments. And so here we see that the add ob is new add, and it takes parameters which is 2 parameters, 3 parameters, and so on. So this is about creating a method with variable argument. Let me now add a variable out argument. So here I first write the type, and then it will be called something like this. We have created the method signature, and three dots indicates there will be variable arguments, and we can put a loop here for, and we can say int n in args, and then we can take integer sum equal to 0. As such, they have not mentioned anything about the values, what is the range of values. So I'm just assuming it's integer. I'm just thinking about whether to use long or integer, but for simplicity, here I believe focus is on variable argument. So keeping it some, but ideally we should keep it long, because if you are adding multiple integers, you can overflow the range of integers. But just ignoring that for the time being, and here sum plus equal to, we say n. So this is this is how we will calculate the sum, and n is the arguments, and it will loop through all the arguments, and then we return sum. So here we missed the return type, public int add, and then it will return the we return the result. So just I'm thinking here the code which is given, which is the template code, there is a buffer reader, and it is reading integers, and the 6 values it reads, and then it creates a new class of type of add, and then it will call add methods on each of these. Then after this string set, they have used set overload equal to false. Then this will call the add method, but yeah, here it's not capturing the returned values. So sample output is, it has to print like this, okay. So it did not have to return any value, it has to print. So let me modify this. Got this. So here we are calculating sum, and then prior to this we should also use system.out.print. Now we will use print, and then we say n, and then we have to use a string concatenation, because we have to say plus sign. Okay, so the first number and then the second number, and then in the last number we use yeah, so instead of return we say out dot print, and then we say whatever is the sum, so you have equal to, and then the sum. So equal to and then plus sum. So this will print first, then you will get okay plus sign. So here in case we have more elements, we'll print the plus sign. In for the last, we don't need to print the plus sign. So I'm just thinking about how to use this logic, because here we need know, okay, we have the first number, then the last. Okay, so for how to skip this for the last. So I see always there are up to six arguments, but there could be lesser as well. Okay, so the logic I see which I can use is I need to find the args dot length. So now I get the length of arguments. I would say this one is equal to size, and this one could be integer, and then instead of this loop, I can use for loop which starts from I equal to 0, I less than size, and I plus plus. So here for if I is equal to size minus 1, that means this is the last item, then we print system dot out. Okay, and otherwise we print because we have to append the plus sign, and then we also calculate the sum, and finally you have to print the sum, so which I'm doing it outside the loop, equal to sum. So looks like this should work. Let's try running it and see if this is as per the expectation of this problem. So I see there is some missing semicolon. Yeah, I see. I put this. Any other? So there's line 12 and line 15 both have missing semicolon. Line 12 and line 15. Okay. So the two new lines which were added, I forgot to put the semicolon. Let me compile and run this. There's still compilation error is n plus. So okay, now since we have changed, so here we can't use change the type of the loop, so we have to use here args I, and here as well args I. Now let me compile again. Return statement. Now we don't need the return statement. This is void. Okay, so okay, we have to put each of the output in a new line. So that's the only thing which we have to do. So this method will be called multiple times. So here we should use print line, and then this will be printed followed by a new line. So now it should print that expected result. So yeah, I see now it's now printing the expected result. Let me submit this and see if it is passing all the test cases provided in the system, and yes, this solution is accepted and we have passed all the test cases. So let's move on to the next challenge. So this is about variable arguments, how to use variable arguments, and it could be simply used with the help of three dots, and then you can iterate over it as an array. So it's very simple in Java. Now we are looking into Java reflection, which is for inspecting the attributes of a class in runtime. So we have to retrieve the list of public fields. So using get declared methods. And this problem, we are given a class called solution, and we have to fill in the incomplete line so that it prints all the methods of another class, which is student class, and we have to print this in alphabetical order. So we have a class student, and student has name, ID, and email. Now we have various methods, then another method and some more method. So you have to print all the methods of the class student in alphabetical order. So here they have used collection.sort. So and then it's been printing the name of the methods. So this will ensure it's in the alphabetical order. So class is student, and now this is something which we have to add code here. So how to use reflection and read all the methods is what we have to take care here. And then in the method list, which is an array list of strings, we have to add all the values of the method. So let's try solving this. So know to implement the required functionality, we have to first say student dot for name. Then this should get the student class object, and then here we should call student dot get declared declared methods. So this one which returns list of methods, and then here we have to iterate over the methods. So here we can say method in methods, and here this is method, and then this will give us the method, and this has to be converted to the string, and that is what inserted. So here they have provided a link to Oracle Docs to see how the uh, methods are. So here get declared method, it gives list of members, and in the usage I see get methods, and if I go to the get methods or get declared methods, so these are the two methods. So let's see which one to use. If I go to get declared methods, I see returns array containing the method object, all the declared methods of class or interface is represented by the class object, including public, protected, default, and private access. So here, if I see they are asking to print us list of in retrieve list of public fields declared methods. So yeah, they have asked to use declared methods. Now method, how to create a string out of this method is what we have to now look into further. So I see there are plenty of methods. I believe, yeah, let's try this by method dot toString, yeah, which is, but if this list is of type string, so yes, we should use toString method for inserting it. Let's run this and see if it is. So here for name is not a method. So let me look into this. There are two categories of class. Okay, so here I see there is a class dot for name. It takes an argument. So here I believe let's look into class dot for name method. So I go to the class, and in the class for name, and then this string, and then the class name. So here I change this implementation. Here instead of student class dot for name, and student is passed as the argument. So let's run this. So they have mentioned that they will append this code before running this. Okay, so here student, it is not, so I think this should be string. The name of the class is a string. So here coming back again, so for name takes string, and string is the class name. So let me run this again to see if there is problem. So here unreported exception. So class not found exception. I got this is class student, and then let's see how to resolve this. So I see, okay, then this has to be the fully qualified name. So fully qualified name for this is the student, and so here how about pros and say class not found exception, and yeah, there is no test case. I just run against the custom input, see what is the output. So here, if I submit, there's a test case. So making some adjustment. So here we believe we should use get name method dot get name, and then here instead of class dot for name, we can use the student dot class. So this one, let me run it again and see if this works. So if I put here and now run it, and then I submit this. Okay, now it's successfully passed. So here it's very less test cases, but yes, we have cracked it. So here few things to keep in mind. When you create a class object, you say student.class, then you create a method get declared methods, and then you add method.getName into the array list, then you iterate over that. So this is about reflection. So let's look into the next challenge. These are all advanced topics in Java, so we are going through it and trying to understand the concept as well. So here you are given a class solution and an inner class private. So the main method of the solution takes an integer. So this challenge is about nested class. This is called can you access. There's a constraint. No, this is between num is between 1, and this would be 8,000. I guess 2 to power 30 is around 8,000. So 8 is power of 2. So you have to call the method power of 2 of the class inner dot private of the method. Okay. So let's see. So it must be used to hold the reference to the instance. So here we have to call this method. So to call this method, we have a static class which is inner. Then there is inside the private class. Okay, so this is so we need to create an object of this private class. We call it P and new, and this is inner dot private. We call the constructor, which is the default constructor in this particular case, and the P dot power of 2, and then we pass the argument which will be the num. So okay, so here they are saying O must hold the reference. So here O is equal to new inner dot private. This is how it should be. Let me try running it to see if there are any compilation error. So I've just said run, and it says new an enclosing instance that contains is required. Okay. So here instead of P, now since we use O, we have to so solution.inner.private. Let me run now. Okay, this one is giving some error. So I see this should be something like this. Yeah, you don't need solution because you are already there. Inner dot new private. Run it. So here we have to use the typecasting as well, which will be inner private, the type, and then we call. So here this object has to be typecasted. I put this bracket. So 7 is, so we got the second line, and now the first line is return. Okay, so this has to be printed out. We are getting this string. We should print this as well, not the power of. Okay, we have to print the n is on, n is. So there is some more code which we have to add, which is say whatever we have passed on as an argument. Num is, so here num is, and then is power of 7. So 7 is not a power of 2 or power of, depending on. Okay, here to put this, and now we have passed this test case, and now let's run for any other test cases. So we have run our program successfully, and all the test cases are passed. So here we see that okay, this is about security manager. We check permissions, and there's an inner class. So yeah, this is about challenge, which is on inner class, private class, and how to call it.